And we are recording.
All right. When last we left off, the wolf pack, having slain the Black Blade Lich known as Forden, and seeing firsthand the devastating power of the individual known as the Torch, the pack is continuing their pursuit of uniting the major cities of Redwood, in hopes of approaching the northern territories with an alliance and escalating this genocidal conflict against the peoples of the forest into a full-scale revolution. Having brought the city of Yord into open rebellion, the group has set its sights and sails in the direction of Elvenon, the ancient city of the Elves, after receiving word from a former comrade of the Redfire's father, an Imperial Ranger known as Velnir Quickfinger, who has expressed a desire to make contact with the rebels and given a method of dead drop to get in touch with him. The pack sailed the skies towards the city unchallenged and skirted the domain of the once great capital enough to avoid any direct attention. With the aid of the Redfires and their knowledge of their former home region, the magical airship known as the Misty Steppe has been put to the waves in a quiet bay, far enough away from Elvenon to ensure some privacy for now. And with that, we pick up, as that was literally where we left off, as you guys had docked in a small bay here, able to disembark. Almost immediately, Garuk kind of kicks around a little bit and just says, "I'll be watching for anything nearby," and just scampers off into the forest. Tez kind of looks around. "Oh, well, I think I'll stay on the ship for a little bit. Let you seem a little more at home here, Taylor and Tyler. So I'll let you get a lay of the land, and if everything's all right around the ship, I'll rejoin you."
All right, sounds good. Plan.
That works. You're not exactly inconspicuous, so.
You're not wrong, Finn. But yeah,
Plus, you can keep Jerry sober.
Indeed. He probably needs a little time with a bit of this nice sea air. And with
I
that,
think that could be good.
the dwarf bosun Rulo kind of leans over to you. "Captain, I'll make sure they stay sober, the both of them."
Oh, I don't give a shit. I just know it's a big thing for him. Like, I think it's kind of funny when Jerry, gets loaded, but
He's pretty fun at cards when he's loaded. I'll give him that. But with that, the three of you and Piece of the Wolf disembark, and you begin making your way into the forest. Both of the Redfires, you rolled plenty high enough on those nature checks, and before you guys landed, you guys know almost exactly where you are. You know that there is while not necessarily a highway system or anything like that in the Verdant Bay Peninsula itself, because of how typically wild and untamed it tends to be, and a little more towards the elven homeland of being in touch with nature. There's no formal road system. However, there is a pretty well-trodden path that leads up most of the coast before eventually meeting down with one of the eastern roads out of Elvenon. You're only about a mile off the road at this point, so you are pretty easily able to traverse that and get to the road itself. And both of you realize that you're only about 3 miles away from your former home. But you begin making your way south along the road. And I need everyone to roll perception checks, please.
isn't that just a formality at this point?
Pretty much, yeah, it pretty much is.
Oh, shit. Never mind. I apparently still have advantage left on.
All right. With these, you continue down the road for a little bit, making some pretty good time after your landing there. Kind of just keeping your eyes open along the sides of the road. There's no foot traffic anywhere that you've seen, no other people traversing this, nothing you've seen off in the woods. After about an hour and a half, 2 hours or so, you've made pretty good time, and both of the twins are aware that eventually you're coming up to the fork where the road from the city meets with the path that you're on. And it's about that time you start hearing this weird, kind of very disconcerting, moaning or sobbing noise coming off from deep in the forest. And very quickly after that, you hear what sounds like someone running from that sound, as that sound is getting louder and louder from deeper within the forest.
Uh-oh.
I'm activating Armor of Shadows. I'm putting my hex on Elvis.
All right.
You
Hex is
heard
on
this sound
Elvis.
before?
No, this is a sound you've spent. I won't even make you roll for it. You spent your entire childhood in this forest. This is not a sound of the forest. This is nothing you've ever heard before. But I do need everyone, as you come farther down the fork and finally get a look at the main road itself, you eventually see an individual. Casey, if you would like to describe what they see running along the road a little bit.
Is this almost immediately after we just got done?
Yep.
Uh,
This is almost immediately after that. You are in the
Sure.
process of getting ready to cast as you're running.
Well, you see a probably pretty average height, average build, relatively, nothing necessarily flashy. A cloak on, a shield in his, well, a shield would probably be on my back at this point. And I am enthusiastically, tactically retreating from two aggressors.
The aggressors that you're all able to see with those perception rolls look to be these weird leather-skinned humanoids, bright glowing yellow eyes with what look to be their normal arms and then two extra arms poking out their back, poking forward. All of these appendages coming to a sharp point, and they seem to be the source of the sobbing and moaning noise. And I need everybody here to sure. We are going to roll initiative. So please select your tokens and roll.
Oh, right off the bat.
Right off the bat, we're jumping into combat.
Yeah, there we go.
Woo!
Uh-oh.
Think I have rolls from the last time we were in. Whoops. Okay, so Finn's at a 17, so get rid of the old one. Yep, Garuk's not here. Tez isn't here. Taylor and Tyler. And we just marvel at the fact that that's a natural 1 and yet still a 17 because initiative modifiers are
Jesus.
ridiculous sometimes.
Well, yes, the only natural one is from the gift of alacrity.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was an 8 on the D20.
Oh, that is deceptive.
With only yeah, exactly. And it turns blue if I get a roll max on any one and minimum on any others. So it's confusing.
Okay. Finn and Drost, I need to know which one of you has the higher dexterity score. So to know who's going first.
I have a 16 in dexterity.
Oh, Matt, you're muted.
God damn it. Well, let's price pay for not hearing me fucking cough. 18. So.
All right, Finn is going before Drost. But top of the round, as this fight seems to be breaking out, Drost is running. This individual is running away from these leather-skinned individuals as they seem to be charging full tilt at him. Tyler, you have the initiative. What would you like to do?
Alright, cool. I'm just gonna run towards him.
Okay.
Like, over here. Can I still see them from here? I mean, I'm assuming so.
Yeah. They're the tree with a little bit of tree cover and everything. You're still able to see where they're coming from.
Alright, I'm gonna cast Entangle over there. Like, right in between them.
Okay. They both need. Go ahead and put that in the chat. I think it's strength saves, if I recall.
Yeah, strength 16.
All right. They are both going to roll. Sure. Okay. So one of them, as these vines begin to start wrapping up from the earth, trying to constrict these two individuals as they're running, one of them immediately gets stuck and is trying to like pull their legs free. The other one is completely unaffected and continues charging.
All right, cool.
All right, anything else?
I feel like it's been a while since we've gotten in combat.
It has been several months.
Like, how do I play a druid again? Let's find out.
It's been since July.
God damn.
It was the Lich fight was the last fight we had.
It was the
Oh,
Lich
yeah. I think that's it for me for this turn.
fight. Okay. Finn Stormraven, you're up. You see this individual running. You see these things chasing it, one of which seems a little stuck at the moment.
And these things look like monstery, right? These don't look like
They
like
look
cuddly.
like some weird, nasty humanoid. They have multiple appendages. For reference,
Cool.
I think I can just show to players the image.
Okay, so they're gross. So I don't feel bad about killing them.
Yeah, no, they do not appear to be humanoid, really.
Oh, lovely.
And
They're
you
beautiful.
Or they might have been humanoid once, but they decidedly not now.
said, I mean, they're humanoid, but they're just not like cuddly. So I can move up like with Tyler, right?
Yes.
And still see him.
Yep.
I'm gonna put my hex on the dude that didn't get entangled and hex his strength. And then yeah, I don't really, these look monstery, so I'm gonna fucking fire away.
Okay, go ahead and take your shots.
Maybe. Where the fuck is it? There it is.
Okay, 24 and a 13. I know the 24 is going to hit. The 13 is a... Okay, one blast, as you fire both of them off, one immediately slams into its shoulder and seems to kind of rock it back and make it stumble a bit. Second shot slams into one of the appendages, kind of glances off, doesn't seem to do any real damage to it. But go ahead and roll damage on that 24. 12 points of damage. Okay. Yeah, seems to stumble a bit, but it is continuing moving.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right. Drost, you immediately got ambushed by these two weird-looking humanoids that are now running and screaming at you while sobbing and moaning. You were preparing to cast a spell while you were running, and you kind of turn around and see two individuals immediately lobbing magic at these things. Roll an insight check for me real quick.
Gladly.
13. The druidic-looking woman who locked one of them down with vines. She matches a description you've recently heard, or more importantly, read.
Sure.
But it is now your turn. What would you like to do?
Swimming in thought. I am going to. I was probably not running their direction, or I was probably not starting to, retreat, tactically retreat their direction, but I will definitely move their way now. I'm going to move. Where was I? 30. We're going to go. Okay, a couple questions. They're not wearing any clothing?
No.
Or any objects, anything, any at all on
They
them?
look to be completely nude. All of their skin is this weird tan leather, icky looking crap. No items of any note that you're seeing, nothing on their persons,
Sure.
other than these spiny appendages.
All right, I'll move here.
Are they like Ken dolling it, or are they like flapping in the breeze?
Full Kendall.
Okay. I'm going to I'm gonna cast web on the both of them.
Okay. Go ahead and put that in the chat so I can make sure. I'm pretty sure I know what it is, but just to make sure what rolls I need.
Yep. I think it's a dex save.
Okay. Yep, that is a dexterity saving throw. So both of them. First, the one that's currently hexed. That's a failure. And the one that's entangled. That is a failure as well. On a fail, they are restrained as long as it remains in the webs or until it breaks free, which I think, according to Entangle, one of them is already restrained.
Sure, yeah. So I don't think it doubles up, but it's
No.
it would be a
But-
second layer of restrainment on them. They would
they're
have to
both
break
affected by
through.
that. Like he's got to break through quite a bit of stuff now. So, yeah. Tyler, you noticed the one that you had immediately wrapped up with vines is now just being covered in this white, sticky snot-like substance, very reminiscent of spider web, taping it down almost to the ground and trying to like pin it in place, causing it to struggle even more. And the one that you had blasted, Finn, as it was running, you kind of caused it to stumble, and then it immediately got hit with this and fell flat on the ground as well.
Nice.
And it's trying to like pick itself back up, and it's just slowly struggling against the web. But they are both currently restrained.
Yeah, I would try to have the web be on, like with the web is on the far end of them, but still, encapsulating both of them, so
Gotcha.
that if not me, but someone wants to hit them with a melee weapon, they can. Anyways, I would also just shout to the two people that are lobbing shells over my shoulder. How's it go? What? Hi. Hello. Mind giving me a hand?
Like more of a hand, or just like the hand that we're already
No,
offering?
no. They've got plenty of hands. But yeah. Appreciate the help.
Yeah, I really don't like their number of hands.
Yeah. That whole like
that's
Ken doll
it for
thing
me.
they got going on down there, that's real gross.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else out of you, Drost?
No, that's it for me.
Okay, perfect. Taylor Redfire, it is your turn. You see your sister and Finn lobbing things over in that direction, as well as the individuals now like almost plastered to the ground, as well as this very cordial individual that has seemed to help lock them down as well.
You can get it right about there, right?
Yep.
All right, then I'm
Your
going
movement,
to cast the Hunter's Mark on the one on the right.
Righty. These guys are just loaded down with debuffs right now.
And I'm going to open fire.
Okay. Take your shots.
This will be
26
advantage for restrained,
is-
right?
Yeah, they are. I believe so. Let me make sure.
I think
think that
so.
means- God, it's been a little hot minute since anyone's tried restraining anything.
Well, I guess it depends too. Did you say one of them was prone? Because unfortunately, that's a disadvantage.
Flavor-wise, they're not quite.
Gotcha.
Like they're fighting
Okay.
to stay standing. They're like
Cool.
on their knees at this point. Kind of taped down with this stuff. Restrained is attack rolls have advantage. So go ahead and roll again for that first
Okay.
shot.
Yeah, that's for
All
the
right.
first shot.
All right, still hits with a 26. I'm going to take the damage on that first one. So 11 points of piercing. Is that including the Hunter's Mark damage?
No, there's the Hunter's Mark.
Okay, 13 points of damage all day for the first shot. As your first arrow sinks through one of the slats in the web and immediately pierces into one of these things. Go ahead and make your second attack at advantage. 25 points. Or 25. That is also a hit for another 17. Which... Second arrow slams into one of the appendages and almost seems to like break the joint holding it to the body a little bit. This thing, it's still, as all of this is happening, these things haven't stopped making this uncomfortable, loud, moaning, sobbing sound. This one that just got shot in one of the arm joints now is making that noise significantly louder. It's almost screaming while crying. Like, full-on raging 2-year-old.
Great.
Yay, just what we want to hear.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
And I believe that's my turn.
All right. It is now the creature's turns. First one is the one that's pinned down, but not completely super pinned down. So it is going to make I believe it is a strength save for its action to get out. So strength. I don't believe that beats your DC at all, Drost. So that
No.
first one is still pinned down. You watch, it's still like it's on its knees, just trying to get up to a standing position where it can, a little more easily rip into some of these webs and get out. As it does so, you hear this like ripping noise that you almost think is part of the web, but instead you now see another appendage sprouting from its back, now trying to claw at the webs, carving it free.
Okay.
Ooh.
And the other one is also going to make a strength save to try and get out. And I believe that beats your DC, Drost.
Which one was one of them hexed? Which reduces
Hex applies
strength?
to, or is it a strength? It is a strength check.
It's the strength check.
That is a disadvantage. You're right.
Yep.
Roll it again.
That's why I did it.
Jeez.
Same
Doesn't
number.
matter.
He just
High
wants to
roll.
get out.
High roll. All right. Yeah. This one, seeing that its partner sprouted one appendage and wasn't able to really claw away at the web, this one you hear 2 ripping noises. 2 more appendages for a total of 6 are now clawing, and the webs that are affecting this creature are torn asunder.
What the fuck?
Ugh.
But the branches holding it down are still applied to it,
All right.
and he is unable to move currently. Which, you see, no, that was their action to do that. So, yeah, that is their go. They can't do anything right now. Bringing us back to the top of the round, Tyler Redfire. What are you doing?
All right. Perfect. I'm gonna use ice knife.
Okay, which one you shooting at?
One that I have pinned down with the branches.
Okay. Believe that is an attack roll on your part first, and then it'll be a dex save.
Okay, I clicked it. Let's see if it casts it.
Okay, 18 is definitely a hit. So, all right, that is 5 points of piercing damage. Let me make sure I understand how the spell works again. Yep, it's a D10 piercing. So, no matter what, that one takes. Oh, and it's a roll again because it's an advantage. I'm gonna take the original damage. I'm gonna take the original damage rolls, but might see if it's a crit.
Not a crit.
Not a crit, but we'll take it. All right, 5 points of piercing damage all day. And then they both roll dex saves, and they're both pinned down and restrained, so that is at disadvantage. So, disadvantage. The one that you just threw an ice knife at. I believe your DC is 16, so it does meet it.
Yeah.
So, it's not half damage, if I recall right. It's just a miss if they make the dex save.
I believe so.
Must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 2d6 damage. Yep. Okay. No half damage.
All right.
So, with the ice knife sticking in its side, it explodes, but it manages to pull the 2 new appendages into almost like a bit of a shield. They seem to take the brunt of it, protecting it from any significant damage there. The one that is hexed and still webbed also has disadvantage as it explodes. That is not going to do it. So it is 8 points of cold damage from that first damage roll.
Ooh.
As shards of ice explode outward, slamming into this individual, cutting a part of the new appendage that just created. clean off in the process, as it continues to just wail at a very, very uncomfortable volume.
Very nice.
Anything else?
I mean, does this new guy look injured at all?
Go ahead and roll me just a quick perception check. $28.
Okay.
Does not look injured in the slightest. Looks a little shaken, not necessarily from, being attacked like this, but definitely being caught off guard. You can kind of see there's a bit of a look in his eye that he probably wasn't expecting this to happen, but is trying to make the most of the situation as much as he can right now. Does not appear harmed in any way, though.
All right, cool. That's my turn then.
All right. Finn Stormraven.
I'm just gonna step a bit over and I'm gonna keep my hex on that dude, and I'm going to shoot him.
All right, at advantage.
Oh shit.
First one's a hit.
Okay. 17 damage.
Oof. Yeah, that'll do some damage here. As he takes
I've
one
got-
blast, you see one of the appendages gets clear knocked off.
Is he still moving?
He is still moving, pretty lively at this point.
I'll give him my other one then. God damn it. For fucking toggle on advantage again. There you go.
27 is definitely going to be a hit.
Okay. Oh, the second one didn't roll. Well, let me see if I... Oh, good thing that was at advantage.
Definitely. Another 12 points of damage. This one's looking pretty hard, or pretty hurt at this point. It's most of the appendages on here are like shredded, broken, stunted in parts where you've been blasting at it. The actual form itself, like its torso, it doesn't seem to be showing any real damage because it's already fairly deformed looking to begin with. So any noticeable damage is all just in the appendages that seem to be a little more external from its form. But it's starting to look pretty worse for wear at this point.
Okay. No, that'll do it for me. The only other thing I'll do is I'll telepathically tell Elvis to go up and circle around and see if he sees any more of those things.
Okay.
And fly back if he does.
All right. Drost, at the start of your turn, you notice that as this group has now come, not necessarily to your rescue, but as helping with these ambushers, you watch the kind of leather armored individual shuck out these blasts of eldritch energy, and from almost seemingly nowhere that you were able to see, a small little winged figure flies from his back and straight up into the sky, disappearing among some of the smaller clouds nearby. But it is your turn. What would you like to do?
Okay, so something came off of one of these things and flew straight up out of our sight.
Yes, the incredibly handsome-looking dude with the pirate hat.
Sorry.
A small
That's
little
true.
tiny dragon flew out from his technically shoulder and flapped up into the air above the forest and is circling around.
That is really cool. But probably not something that Drost would have. I don't know. I would probably have been looking towards you guys and not the things. It's like a chuck and pray spell. Okay. At first I thought you were talking about the monsters. Something flew up from the monsters. I'm like, what? Anyhow.
Oh, no.
Yes. Now I'm up to speed. Okay. So one of them looks pretty messed up.
Yeah, the one on the left that's still fighting through some of the webs that had initially tried sprouting one arm to help cut it free.
Mhm.
Still trapped in the web, still fighting. The arms, most of the arms are now looking very busted up, not very effective against some of the webs. Very hurt looking. The one on the right looks like it's taken some damage as well, but seems to be a bit hardier in the moment, a little more energized.
Okay. I'm just gonna shoot a ray of frost at the one with fewer arms. And that is in my. There we go. Presumably that lands. 27.
Yeah, that is. Yep, sorry, headset glitched for a second. That definitely hits. Go ahead and roll damage. 6 points of cold damage. You blast it. It actually ends up freezing parts of the web that are like attached to this individual, and these shards start digging into its physical form. It continues to keep wailing. There's no change in the volume or anything like that. At this point, it's looking pretty bad for this thing. So it did not seem to enjoy that whatsoever.
Oh yeah, I got room to still stay in. I'm gonna just get back kind of towards these trees here, to give myself some options. And I think that's it. I would have also, I forgot to mention, Corey, like probably my knee-jerk reaction when I saw that these things were hostile would have been to make a little bit of a telepathic request
Yep.
of my own.
Yeah, I saw your message.
So I'm not sure. It wouldn't have been like right by me, but it would have been kind of roughly in the area.
Yep.
So.
You get a response that it's booking it. It is on its
Cool.
way.
Yeah, I'm not at this point. I'm much less, I'm much, less hoping for it to get me out of here. But anyways, that's it for me.
All right. That brings us to Taylor Redfire.
I'm going to keep shooting the one on the right.
All right.
So that one's still at advantage, right?
Yes. Actually, yeah. Dros, that reminds me. Roll another attack just to see if you crit.
Oh
'Cause,
shoot!
both
Yeah, that's
both
right.
of those are still restrained. Okay. No crit.
Negativo,
We're fine.
bro.
Yep. All right, Taylor. Yep. Roll your attacks. Still at advantage. Both are still restrained. That is a 22. That is definitely going to be a hit on the one on the right, you said?
Correct.
Okay. That is 12 points damage all day. It is not looking great for this thing. It was looking better than its companion. It's still looking slightly better than its companion, but both of these appear to be very beat up at this point. And the second shot is also a hit. It is now officially looking worse than its companion. You have managed to shoot. You didn't shoot the entire arm off, but you did shoot just the tip of it off, so it's kind of blunted. Like it's now trying to like cut at these webs with a broken piece of candy corn almost. Like just flat cut mesa. No, it's not making a lot of work here as it's trying to cut free of these branches.
And that's my turn.
All right. It is their turn, and once again, they are going to panic and try to break free. It is their action. The hexed one has a disadvantage on strength. That's still a negative, so it sits there. It sprouts another couple of appendages to try and replace the ones that are very heavily damaged. These ones appear to be smaller and like stunted, like it's not whatever energy pool, like or vitality that it takes to summon these things is starting to seem a little drained. These arms aren't nearly as robust and like tactful as the previous ones are, so it's just ineffectively trying to cut at these webs.
He's
completely
spawning
stuck.
stumps.
Yep, they are getting a little stumpier as they continue to grow out. They're not doing great. The other one still trying to pull free of the branch embrace that it's stuck in. That is strength. That one, as it finally, like, it's gotten mad, and it manages to use the broken candy corn arm, cuts finally through the last of the branches, and just starts dead sprinting at the group.
Real quick.
Bring it.
With web, I know it broke out of the webs that was restraining it. But it says each creature that starts its turn in the webs. Would that mean that it would have to roll another dex save? Or is that just the initial, if you break out, then you're out sort of thing?
I'm kind of treating it as like affected area. You said that they were kind of on
Sure.
the edge of it so that anyone that ran up to melee wouldn't be in them, right?
Yeah. So
I'm
it's
gonna
not
say
like it grows back together around.
Yeah,
him.
I'm gonna
It's
I'm gonna
just
say that
okay.
that square
Yeah,
that
that's
was
fair.
initially webbed is no longer since he's broken out of it. But it's still under the effects of entangle, which means difficult terrain for at least a
Yeah.
couple squares. So let me see, what movement are we working here with? Not as much as I was hoping. Okay, so that's 10, and now it's out of the entangle effect because of how big entangles is. So 5, 10, 15, 20. Still moaning, still like sobbing, louder and louder as it starts just running at you, Drost. Full tilt does not get to you though, is not able to do anything as it would like to do. So that brings us back to the top of the round. Tyler, as this thing is approaching you and this individual you've now met on the road, what would you like to do?
I'm just gonna cast Frostbite at it and see what happens.
Okay. Go ahead, and I think I know that's a save on my part, not an attack roll, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's a
Constitution
con
save.
save.
Oh, I never get to make con saves. Okay. That's an 8. That's a fail. 7 points of cold damage. And if I recall, there's another effect.
It's advantage on attacks, I think. Right?
Disadvantage on the next weapon attack roll it makes before the end of its next turn. So we're just going to put a... snail. There we go. It's going to get a little snail. So it takes
Alright,
7 points of cold damage. Yeah, it is. This thing is like, it's starting to stumble and like, it has a pretty strong limp from like one of its legs. The ankle seems to have kind of rolled a bit too much from the branches. So it's now just like dragging behind it, still just charging at you with these stumpy looking arms. It's not looking hot at all.
Alright, I'm getting a little closer, and then I'm gonna wait for it.
Okay. Finn Stormraven. Tyler goes up to approach this last one that appears to be on death's door and is charging. What would you like to do?
Tyler, you got that one?
Yep.
Sweet. I will shoot at the other one then.
All right.
And
make
he's
your
still
shots.
down, right?
He is still stuck in the web, so go ahead and make them at advantage. Sends me, thank you. That was no longer restrained. Both of those are hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
Pew, pew.
It is entirely possible for you to kill him here. That is a 15. That is a 25 total. Finn Stormraven, how would you like to do this?
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, probably he like struggles to get up, right? As that last blast just catches him right in the fucking face.
It finally starts pulling free of some of the webs and righting its form as soon as it seems to be standing upright. Takes one blast to the chest, kind of sinks in a little bit, and the second blast catches it on the tip of the forehead, blasting it back clean, and you hear a neck snap as its head is taken a little too unnaturally far back. As its form crashes to the ground, arms all going limp around it.
I think that one's down.
Good.
Should have got a bonus action. I'll move my hex to the one that's still alive, just for the
All
fuck of
right.
it. And I will hex. I don't know. I'll stick with strength.
Okay, strength is hexed. Drost, it is your turn. You've now watched these individuals carve through one of them completely, and this other one is still charging at you and this druid individual on the road here. What would you like to do?
So it was running at me, right? Like
It was. It's still kind of in that general direction of you, but it's almost looking over at the druid at this point, having been the most recent aggressor.
Sure. Well, I will move probably a little ways back to the point where I wouldn't be easily closed on, and I would just hit it with another Ray of Frost.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your attack. No longer at advantage.
Not at advantage. Lucky me, I didn't turn it on.
21 still hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
Well, that's
So you know how in this, you know how in the other game you guys have the real bad tendency of leaving it alive with like 1 hit point.
Mm-hmm.
You needed a 13 to do this.
Hey.
So Drost, your first session, How would you like to do this?
I don't think Ray of Frost does a whole lot of fancy freeze them and break them into chunks of ice and stuff like that. So I would be happy with him falling to his knees dead.
With
As
a very
with a little bit of a
well-timed
relief on my
blast.
face.
With a very well-timed blast of Arctic energy flying from your fingers. It slams into the chest and almost looks like it's about to freeze in place, but it just kind of stops, convulses like once, almost like, that feeling of fighting off frostbite, like feeling the last bit of energy go through your body before it just collapses to his knees, face down into the dirt. All of the arms and appendages going limp as well. And with that, we are out of initiative. As you guys listen, and for the first time in the last minute or so, you don't hear any sobbing or crying or moaning noises.
Oh, Jesus. Glad that's over.
Yeah, I will never want to hear that sound again.
No, that's terrible. I'll walk over to that one that's on the ground, nudge with my foot. The fuck are these things?
Yeah, I'm
Never seen
gonna
him before.
I'll make my way over there too. I'm gonna pull out a book and like sketch or crude sketch of what the thing looks like and write down some notes.
Go ahead, anyone who wants to, as you guys are getting a little close and looking at these things, go ahead and roll a medicine check.
Just don't know why I rolled twice.
I mean, good rolls either way.
I don't know shit about medicine.
Yeah, me. That's not something that I would be.
Fair. Taylor, you kind of look it over, and you're not entirely sure what this thing is. It's almost reminiscent of like a spider with how the appendages are kind of shaped and jointed. But that's the only vibe that you're kind of getting from it, other than this weird, like, malformed humanoid thing. Tyler, you kind of take a look at it a little more, kind of poke it a little bit as Finn's kind of nudging it with his boot. This thing definitely was humanoid at one point, like probably some kind of sentient race. You can kind of see parts of like this very like desiccated, tanned, leathery skin, where there seems to be like a rib cage kind of protruding a little bit, almost like it was starving at one point. The rib cage seems to almost be like misaligned though. Like you'd expect it to be kind of uniform in line with itself. One side seems to be kind of lopsided a little bit, like it's a couple ribs down the ladder, if that makes sense. The arms themselves are very spider-like in appearance. The joints themselves, the joints in the arms almost seem human. They're very like human in appearance, but the arms are very reminiscent of spiders. Nothing about this thing screams human now, but there's definitely humanoid aspects to it. You're not entirely sure what that means, though, as far as what maybe did this, or if this is some phenomenon, or what happened here.
Let's hope there aren't more of these things around.
Yeah, they're going on the shoot them as soon as we see them list.
Yeah. Hey, and I look at new guy, and I'm like,
Yeah,
what,
friends of yours?
what the hell? Yeah.
Well, it looked like they really wanted to give me a hug, but I would have cordially declined that offer based on the sharpness of their arms.
Did they just kind of pop out of nowhere?
I'm gonna pull out the note from before, and yup.
You start looking over the descriptions.
Look from one to the next of them and be like,
Yeah, you start looking at the descriptions, and they're a little off. It's almost like this is being described like a game of telephone. They're not perfectly accurate, but the descriptions vaguely match what you're looking at on your piece of paper. From all of your perspectives, as he's kind of holding this piece of paper and looking at you guys one by one, you can see the back of the piece of paper, and Finn, I know for a fact you're perceptive enough to catch this. The back of the note that he's looking at, there is a message written on it that says, got my own notes. The answers you seek can be found east of town. Look for these people. They will know more on how to find me. Taylor, you recognize just on sight. You're not even looking at the side of the paper that this individual's looking at and reading and looking at you guys with. You recognize what kind of piece of paper that is. That's the kind of paper that typically gets used for wanted posters.
I would. Oh, so sorry if you were in mid.
No, I'm done.
Thought. We're okay. So we are like pretty deep woods, or at least off the road a ways.
You're about 5 miles out of town at this point.
Right, and I was walking on the road and saw these things, and so we're close to a road, but not like obviously not like town. Like
well, oh, go ahead.
I would like sort of hushed voice. Then I would like read out loud the things that the party, a certain party, are wanted for. Okay, high treason, murder of imperial officials, yada yada yada. Okay, 500,000 gold dead, and I look at them like semi side eye, and like obviously I'm not doing anything about that. 1.5 million gold alive. Y'all are popular folks, huh?
So I don't know what you're doing out here there, Palooka, because I see you got a note that says to find us. And then you got the wanted poster.
Well, first of all, I'm not a bounty hunter, as you know. I was not interested in dealing with these guys in a fight. And yeah, I was recently in Elvenon trying to track down a fire mage, is as much information as I've got right now, with the exchange. And as I left, I had a bump in with an individual that planted this note in my pocket, and and like with my eyebrow raised, I spoke kind of with a rat, familiar, I assume, that suggested that someone's trying to get in touch with you and trying to help you, and I should catch up with you guys because we might have mutual interest. So that's my story. Nice to meet you. My name's Drost.
Does this dude seem remotely fucking on the level?
And that's exactly what my insight check was trying to figure out. Everything
Yeah,
he was saying. How much do we believe?
Finn,
Or how much do I
Finn,
believe?
go ahead and roll an insight check for me real quick. We'll add that with Taylor's. And
I'll roll one.
Drost, if you feel like making any kind of roll, charisma-based roll for this, do so. Whisper it to GM. I think that setting should be on your sheet. If you feel like making one, I leave it up to you because it's going to be whispered to GM. They won't see it. So, if you choose to, it is your call.
Okay, so if if I'm reading chat. If I can sense that I have been hexed, I would attempt to ingratiate myself and explain further. But no, I don't. No, I wouldn't resist this because this is the truth.
Yeah, you do feel a bit slower, but all three of you with those insight checks, he doesn't appear to be lying. He's maybe not. He hasn't shared maybe everything yet, but you're not sure if it doesn't seem like that's an omission or a lie or any part. He seems above the board as far as everything goes.
I just look at him like, you're part of the exchange?
Do I know? What's the exchange?
Well, I had a connection before him and the rest of my group were wiped out in a fiery conflagration. So,
So you're saying this fire mage like murdered all your people,
yeah, pretty much.
and you're looking to
So-
murder him?
Well,
Right back?
I mean, revenge would be great. Information would be my priority. And from what I know about him, I don't know what you guys know, but I've been told to proceed at caution as his power is a little bit more than I had expected. You know, I'm not on a solo mission to murk this guy, so.
Cool. Yeah, he's a
what's
fucking-
what
he's
what
a
are you,
monster.
yeah, what's your guys' situation with that?
I'm assuming this
Well-
fire mage he's referring to is the same guy that we're after.
That's my
The-
assumption.
Yeah, the basic description of what he's like found already and what he's shared. Yeah, it rings a bell. Very recent bell for some of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would explain the interaction I had with a clerk at the exchange, who, and I would refer that, they're a, quote, clandestine information organization, that like this guy's like leveled towns, like square miles of devastation and stuff. So, I quickly got in over my head with this. So, but then I was sort of this. You guys are my only lead, so I followed it. And thanks, by the way, for the help.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, those things aren't allowed in my forest.
Your forest?
Our forest.
Puzzle was like coming right at me.
Our forest, sorry.
Their forest, not our. Collectively, those two.
Sure. Well, either way, appreciated.
So, like, you're gonna fucking. You're looking to take out the torch?
Well,
Gross, that's the first time you've ever heard a name to this individual,
Sure.
by the way.
sure. I mean, I, the name fits. What,
Yeah, what's his other
guess
name?
take
His
out,
name
I'm not sure that like I'm really in this guy's league. I'm not cool with what he's doing, but I'm a little uncertain on, yes, I have my misgivings on if it's possible.
Oh, it's.
But,
I mean, it's
yes.
happening. I guess let me rephrase. Like, if you're looking to fucking put this dude under, he's already on the clock. So, I mean, if you want to fucking tag along, you seem pretty handy. So,
Yeah, I mean, is that what you guys are planning on doing? Like, you're planning on going after this
Yeah.
guy? What do you know of? Like, do you know anything about like what he can do and like the
he can
specifics?
burn
Like,
villages.
We've
So,
seen that
Right.
He's
firsthand.
not fucking around. Yeah, we've seen
Right, I
like
mean, I
huge
gathered that
chunks
much.
of forest. He's just a big douchebag who's tied up with a bunch of other douchebags who we're in the process of working our way through. So
Yeah, we're
he
looking
was,
to kill his boss,
yeah, eventually.
so we're
Okay,
gonna
so,
kill
like-
him.
Okay, so clearly you guys know more about him than I. So, like, care to?
And hey,
share
dude, is that?
notes?
Can I see that wanted poster? Is that legit?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's legit.
I don't know a whole lot about it, so.
And like it's descriptions of us.
So, looking over the wanted poster itself, Taylor, you immediately confirm that it is in fact a legit wanted poster. It's set up in every format you've seen posted in the Hunters Lodges across the Empire before. This is entirely that format. The wanted note itself says, let me find here. Where did I put that? Okay. Starting from the top, it says, The Wolf Pack, 500,000 gold dead, 1.5 million gold alive. The descriptions that they kind of give are very loose for the three of you. The description for Garuk, I mean, it's shady elf character, so it kind of fits, but it's Garuk. The fifth character written on there, it's not describing Tez. It's describing Rix.
Oh,
Shit,
poor
that's
Rix.
old. That's not even current.
But the list of charges, there is a small paragraph below all your descriptions. No artist renderings. It says you are all wanted for high treason, murder of imperial dignitaries and government officials, desecration of the imperial faith, grand theft of imperial property, inciting rebellion against the empire, multiple counts of debauchery and lewdness.
1,000%.
Last seen in the Redwood Forest. Advisory. Group is believed to be highly dangerous and should not be approached alone.
Yes. Woo. Fuck yes.
Well, that's good.
That's
yeah.
a
That
lot
up on
of
the
gold.
boat. No shit.
That's a lot of gold.
Yeah,
That's
like
a shit ton of gold.
There's no fucking way the person that does that is not getting murdered and not paid that amount of gold.
I was gonna say, like, yeah. So yeah, care to elaborate on some of this situation?
And
I mean, sure.
I just want to confirm one thing. Did you say 50,000 gold or 500,000
Oh no,
gold?
500,000
No, yeah, it's
gold.
500.
Okay, because
If
the
all-
first time you
Yeah.
said it, I thought I heard you say 50,000. So I just
Oh yeah,
wanted to
no.
double check.
It's for all of your heads brought collectively. It is 500,000 gold.
That's like
And if all
100,000
of-
gold apiece.
And if all of you are brought in alive, it is 1.5 million gold total for the bounty.
Yes, that's a lot.
I'm
of
worth
fucking
so
gold.
much money.
That's a lot of dim.
Yeah, like you guys, there's a lot of heat on you guys. So I mean, not telling you how to handle your business,
hey.
but
No, it's cool because I'll snap my fingers and I look like a thin, dark-skinned elf.
cool.
You
I
can do that.
mean,
Huh.
like okay, like sure, that's great. Like
That's what I look like.
1.5 million. That's gonna turn a lot of heads that might be able to like see through that. But I mean, again, I don't know what else you guys have got going on. But anyway,
Just turn into a rat.
I just shrug because I can't do any of that shit.
Taylor, I will say, just looking at the wanted poster and the descriptions given for you guys, they're not that accurate. Like, a lot of people could fit this. The descriptions specifically for you and your sister are just tribal-ish looking elf. Not the most accurate in most senses. Thinking back to your
so
childhood,
many fucking half elves are gonna get murdered over this.
Yeah.
you're kind of you're immediately thinking just based on your childhood alone, not even your recent time in Elvenon or anything, just based on the people you know from your childhood. There's a lot of people that fit that description.
Oh,
Good
dude,
for
that is so wildly irresponsible.
Yeah.
really is.
yeah,
They
So,
are
yeah,
gonna
either-
fucking kill. That's probably part of it. That's probably not a fucking downside to the Empire. Like, oh, cool, we also get to murder 100,000 half elves because people think that they're these wanted fugitives. I guess not fugitives because we weren't arrested, but persons of interest.
I mean, we were, they were gonna arrest us.
Yeah, we were never taken into custody though.
Yeah, I can see why we're wanted, but I never expected it to happen. I don't know why.
Well, the only people I know that have ever killed Lightbringers are us. So
True.
that's kind of a big
We
deal.
also know a lot.
Gross, that word,
that laser.
yeah. I was gonna
that
say,
word, the
killed-
light or
killed
lightbringer.
Lightbringers.
Yeah, that catches your eye or your ear almost immediately. You're not super familiar with some of the things in the Imperial military, but those are up there.
Mm-hmm.
At least a couple rungs higher than the Imperial Guard.
Oh, those guys are nothing.
How many Lightbringers have we killed? Like,
4, right?
a decent
I
amount.
think 4.
Yeah.
5.
Because there were the 2. Was it 5?
You've killed, or is it 6?
I
No, there
remember
were
the
two. Yeah, there
2
were
that
two. There
chased
were
us out the
two.
window.
There were 2. Yeah, there were 2 in Corda that you killed,
Yep.
and then there were the 4 at Oakland. Which
Okay, there were 4 at Oakland.
yeah,
okay.
there were 4 in Oakland.
I
Which,
couldn't
for the
remember
record, as you guys are thinking about this, that's almost exactly the reason why there's now a wanted poster for you guys. You guys went under the radar until Oakland, and you
Yeah,
are
we
almost
fucked up
certain.
in Oakland.
Yeah, you're almost certain you know who was probably behind getting the wanted posters made as well.
Oh, that dickhead. I want to feed parts of him to him.
We should.
Yeah, we need to find that dude. Like, somewhere in the order of people that we have to kill, he's going on it.
Oh, yeah.
The little star next to his name, just because he's a fucking dickhead. We almost got him.
So,
But he ran away.
okay, so you
And let us all
guys,
squad get murdered.
we were obviously put on the same road together by someone. I don't
So-
know who.
Like, if you aren't 100% comfortable with being an outlaw, like, this probably is not the road for you.
I mean, I don't know about like outlaw. I've in the last, call it, few years, I've become disillusioned maybe with the Empire.
Oh, because it's garbage.
And just based on my time in Elvenon, that has magnified considerably. You guys seem like you're able to handle your stuff pretty good. I mean, the only thing that I got to straighten out is like, okay, outlaw, whatever, like, to what end? Like, what's like, I mean, I don't know anything about the people that the Lightbringers that you killed. Presumably, they're not great, war crimes, whatnot. What are your guys? What's your ends? What's
Well, I mean,
what's
you read
the end
the
goal here?
like you read the treason part on that wanted poster, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're fairly actively participating with the voiceless in like the rebellion against the Empire.
You've never heard that term, that name, clearly, Drost.
Sure. Yeah. So based on the note, if all the note is accurate, more or less, the voiceless is separatists.
You said this like exchange, it's like an information gathering organization. Is that what you said it was?
Yeah.
They are.
How, like, are they very good at their jobs?
Well, I mean,
Like, because this
I
seems
didn't
like
talk to them.
think
I
so.
didn't talk to him about you.
Tyler,
So-
you know very specifically. The exchange. has to
Yeah, no,
operate
I'm
within
I'm
certain-
just being coy.
Yeah, they have to operate within certain rules. Like, they're allowed to look up what they need to, but very frequently they're told to let the matter drop by the Imperials. And if they dig a little too deep, it's not uncommon for an exchange member to end up arrested and charged with treason.
Yeah, the exchange has to like stay on their toes a little bit, so they can't do too much research.
Yeah,
I was
that's
just
the
figuring
gist
there's
of what
gotta
I
be,
got
like-
from the people at the exchange.
You'll probably go talk to them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with okay, so here's my shtick, I guess. Cards on the table. I am not a fighter. I am not really, even you saw me. I'm not worth two craps in a fight unless I've got a group of people that I can make better. in a fight. Just a few weeks ago, I lost the people that were that for me. So I'm happy to help in whatever way I can with you guys. I've got less misgivings about the voiceless and whatever that might bring, and more in like self-interest, a bit of concern about this the torch guy,
His real name's like
and his
Khalil.
ability to literally snap his fingers and turn us into ash. So, if we can go about it intelligently, I'd love to help.
Yeah, and we're not like running up on him like right now, since that plan was voted down.
Now we're in the research phase.
Yeah,
Yeah,
general mischief, kind of passing the time while we figure out our next angle.
Yeah, I'm down for whatever we think we want, whatever you guys think you want to do. Um, just so long as it's not cold-blooded murder type stuff like that. If everyone's got it coming to them, I'm happy to help.
We've
Yeah,
only done
no,
that
we
like once or twice.
no, we have, to this of my knowledge, we have not done any damage to a civilian. I mean, we've only
I mean,
had
no, not
people
to
in
a
his
civilian.
life. Yeah, no,
We
We've
went
only-
a little hard in the paint with one or two people, but
I mean, but
I
they're all
it'll
like
happen.
in his life. Like, this is our world. I mean,
Yeah.
I expect to get stabbed. I mean, I don't think any of us under the illusion that we will like live to old age. So,
Oh yeah, I accepted that with my last group. Um,
now Garuk, on the other hand, I'll be honest, like one of the people that kicks it with us occasionally, she is like a murderer. I think, probably kills people for money, most likely. I'm assuming she's some sort of assassin. That's the gist. She kind of pops in and out, so you might run into her down the road. So, like, if you are prudish about contracted murder, you might just like keep it topical with Garuk.
how about we handle Garuk when we get there?
Oh yeah, I'm saying, like, don't get all like
Yep.
churchy
Yep.
about
No,
people
no.
that.
Yeah, I'm good with that. So, like, you seem to have more information on the torch than I do, clearly. Any leads in that direction? Or is that, sounds like you guys are kind of pissed at other people? Is that a angle you're trying
No,
to go after
well,
right now?
we had an altercation with like a high up Imperial agent, and we killed him and took his flying ship.
he was one of the Torch's co-workers, if
Shit.
you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's parked down the way.
So as retaliation, the Torch like incinerated a village in the woods, just to be a douchebag.
Sure.
So we're just gonna continue to turn the heat up on this situation until something explodes somewhere, and then we'll exploit the opening. So we're going to Elvenon to pretty much, like I said, just cause general mayhem and rebellion and mischief, and just get into shit. We liberated Yord about, was it like a month ago now? Has it even been that long?
It's been like 2 weeks.
2 weeks ago. So like 2 weeks ago, we liberated Yord. Yord's straight up independent now.
Wow, no shit.
I mean, we didn't do it
Okay.
personally. We were heavily involved.
Right.
But there was a lot of moving parts, but
You're a
we were right
catalyst.
there.
I get that.
And so I said there was a, nemesis, possibly, of mine.
So yeah, I mean, I'm all for helping what you guys have got going on, but just as if it's not already obvious, it seems like you guys are getting into some new, maybe not new, but like some intense territory when, like entire cities are getting erased out of retaliation for your actions.
More of a
So
village, I would say. Hamlet. Like, definitely not city.
yeah, I mean,
just to put in perspective. But yeah,
Sure.
it sucks. But no, that's why the torch has got to go sooner than later, and that's what we're working towards.
Okay, so is it? Do you think the torch is like is there someone calling the torch's shots?
Oh, 100%.
That,
But he does a lot of his
Yeah.
own shit. Yeah, no, he's
right.
definitely
So
yes. Like
just saying,
anybody he takes care of is all in service of continuing the Empire's
sure.
like control and influence.
Sure.
I mean, he is up here in the north, like taking out the rebellion, like the voiceless. Like that's pretty much his like standing mission is to, or at least for a time it was. I don't know what he's doing now, besides the village incineration thing.
Well, I mean, it sounds like he's got to go, and if it's going to be war, there's going to be collateral damage. So
you said you
I'm all,
you like buff people up in combat, like you make them better
um
in a fight.
yeah, I mean, I would describe myself as a problem solver.
Nice.
Whether those problems are
Oh, they'll come in handy. We have a lot of problems.
well,
We
I
tend
can't
to
solve
have
them
them.
all, but I pride myself on being able to think my way out of most issues.
Oh shit!
Into some.
Whew, this is fucking
Hmm.
untapped resources. I don't think we ever thought our way out of a problem.
No, we just
No.
kind of.
The last
No.
time any of you thought a way out of a problem, you jumped out a window.
Yep.
So a spider is gonna climb onto my shoulder, and I'm just gonna look down at my shoulder and sigh. But Drost at your service.
Do you have a pet spider?
I'll tell Elvis not to eat the spider.
It's
No.
Yeah.
well, funny that you mentioned Elvis right now. As you link up just to send that little message, you're very quickly you get the reply of like, yeah, okay, and then immediate panic. Drost, you get a message in your head saying, I have essentially communicating the idea of like, I am here. And you all see this shadow of a winged creature flying down from the clouds and quickly coming to roost on the ground right behind Drost. It is, for all intents and purposes, there you go. You can look at what that creature looks like.
Oh,
As this
damn.
this large winged creature kind of lands, tucks its wings back. You see the head looks almost wolf-like, but also kind of rabbit-like. It's a little odd. There's antlers sticking out from it. It's got a bit of a lion's mane with some of the feathers as it just kind of sits back, roosts a little bit, looks down at Dros, and then looks at all of you.
What?
Yeah, that's my
Dros,
chicken.
I'm sorry?
I would assume I would have probably been a little bit lost in conversation and not been catching up with this guy. So he might be a little bit aggressive with you all as he landed. So I would pat him on the neck and hey, calm down, buddy. And I was like, yeah, this is how I get around. No big deal. He's and I'll just tell him that I summoned him and it's a spell. He's a big familiar.
Then you feel Elvis come back and take his perch. Normally it's on your shoulder. He kind of crouches down a little bit behind your shoulder, clinging to your back, peering over it to watch and make sure he doesn't get eaten.
Okay.
Kisa's growling a little bit.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That'll be
I'll
super
have him.
inconspicuous.
I'll just tell him to back up, and he can just do what he wants. Fly, take off if he wants, but don't go too far.
He seems a little disgruntled since he was summoned with a lot of haste, but he does take off and kind of just does some lazy circles above you guys before kind of disappearing into the clouds a little bit.
I guess I'll point him to the bodies that are over there if he's got any interest in lunch.
Speaking of the bodies, you kind of look over. They are decaying at a very rapid rate.
Okay, never mind.
Ugh.
Like they're at this point, any flesh or liquid that was in them is completely gone, and it's just like skin sack on bone.
Sure, I'm gonna, open up my book again as I notice that, scribble around. But yeah, yeah. So sorry here, folks. I didn't, that that was my exit strategy when I didn't know you guys were in the area. So fight or flight. I don't really have fight. So yeah. Sorry we were interrupted, but we were talking about next moves. You're going into Alvanon and
Yeah,
trying to smoke
how well
out the
do
torch.
yeah, how well do you know Elenon?
Not well. I've been in the area for like a week. Didn't really have any leads until recently.
Okay. Quick sidebar, guys. We gotta think of a new group name. Also,
Yeah.
like descriptions are vague enough, and obviously we can, fudge appearances a bit. But I think if we drop the name the Wolfpack, that's not going to get us the kind of attention that we want.
Yeah, I agree. At least with people where it matters.
Openly, yeah. Like
Well,
at some
openly,
point,
yeah, I'm still going to call us the Wolfpack, but for everybody else, we'll tell them something
Yeah.
different.
We should probably get
in the
walking.
meantime, it might be smart to attempt to change appearances, at least in public, to, not
Yeah,
that it's
well,
not that it's a great lead, but
I mean,
blind
Taz isn't even
squirrel.
on there, and Rix is gone. I mean, he's fully on with the voiceless. So, 2 half elves. Like, I think as long as I don't look like a human, that pretty much like tips the balance, right?
Sure. Maybe
Probably.
we keep an eye on, any new wanted posts. If we've got any inns in, bounty hunter territory.
Yeah, Taylor, you fuck with the bounty hunters, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Taylor, you're very well familiar with the Hunter's Lodge here in Elvanon as a official. Like Elvanon's one of the few cities that has an official lodge, so that would be a good place for you to try and gather any information related to that.
And it does identify us by name, right?
It has your first name.
Okay.
Actually, hold on. I'm trying to think back to the encounter. No, you know what? No, it wouldn't have any of your names on it.
Okay.
Just has the
Excellent.
descriptions. Yeah, because you based on your limited dealings with Lawrence. Yeah, your names never would have come up in that. So no, you're good. Just the descriptions, which are again a bit loose. It's
Vague at best.
Description passed to a person, passed to another person, probably. So if that first description was even accurate.
Yeah, Lawrence had to hastily recollect what he looked like as he ran away like a little fucking punk.
Jerk.
Yeah, fuck him. Definitely kicking his ass when we see him again.
I want to give him I was going to say a swirly, but I don't think toilets exist, so.
We could call my, storm of blades a swirly.
I mean, I was
could.
just thinking,
Yeah, there you go.
I think a fantasy version of a swirly is just using like a whirlpool spell or something.
No, we just give them a
Yeah.
swirly in the outhouse.
Or that, yeah.
And yes, I am well aware that there's no running water in there, and that's perfectly fine.
Fair.
Well,
All right. So what are you guys doing?
I mean, if you're cool with it, Dros, you can come along.
Head
Yeah.
into town, talk to somebody.
Or, I mean, if you have to go get your shit or whatever you need to do. So, I mean, you don't have to, like, hang out with us while we're on our errands, but if you got nothing else to do, you might as well.
Like I said, I've been in town looking for leads, and you are my last one. So I'm good. Moral support with whatever you guys have going on.
All right, cool.
All right. With that, you guys kind of gather your belongings, what a little bit was scattered around, collect yourselves, and start heading west back towards the city of Elvenon, through the forests of which two of you are quite familiar, especially along this road, considering this was the road that pretty frequently you and the rest of your family were traveling whenever you needed to actually go into the city from your farmstead. So there's a bit of emotional weight to it. It's the first time you've really been back to the area since you guys left. So coming under these kind of circumstances, it feels a little. There's a bit of melancholy with this. So, but you begin the approach, and not too long, you do see eventually the large marble walls and the large wooden palisade gate that makes up the Fall Gate, uh, the eastern entrance into the East Wall district of Elvenon proper. And that's where we're going to take a quick break, just in case anyone needs to use the bathroom, water, or whatnot. And pick up in 5-10
All
minutes.
right.
Sounds good.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Cool.
All right.
All right, how are we looking? Who's back?
Good.
Hello.
I'm back.
All right, Joe, you're here too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, then we're going to dive right back in. You guys begin to approach the eastern gate, known as the Fall Gate by locals, into the East Wall district itself. And you very quickly see Elvenon's different than most cities you've actually been to. It's a little more friendly towards visitors because there's maps posted everywhere that show where you are and what the city looks like. And very quickly, you're able to see kind of the layout of the city. For two of you, this is a very familiar thing. Although the city has kind of redone some of the older districts, especially it seems like Leyladel and the Celethriel Wharfs have gone up through a little bit of expansion and renovation. Just looking at the maps themselves, it seems like there was probably some work done up there. But you guys enter the city proper into Eastwall, and Drost, obviously, you were just here a couple hours ago. This is nothing new to you. This is a very human-dominated district. For the two locals, it also feels a little bit like home, but I need to ask: did you guys do anything to kind of disguise your approach or your appearances before you entered the city proper?
I was gonna be a cat.
Okay.
I've
You
got
are a
my
cat.
hood up as usual.
Okay. You have your hood
And
up,
I look like an elf.
and you look like an elf. Somehow, Finn, you end up getting the most looks. Walking through East Wall in a district of the city, in mostly as you're kind of walking through, the only people you're seeing in this part of the city are humans and half elves, and nobody really looks at the human-ish looking Drost. Nobody really looks at the man with the bow with his hood up. Nobody really looks at the cat, but they're looking at the elf a little bit. Not necessarily with a lot of suspicion, just like, oh, okay. And just making sure, like watching you go by as they continue about their day. But where would you guys, if you guys have a destination, where are you heading?
See, da.
Maybe something that I would have suggested to the group as we were working our way back here is like, I don't know. It obviously seems like the person that put us, in the same area doesn't really want his identity known. But I'm curious about that. And also, Corey, how much, if anything, does would Drost know about like what the Empire does to track its mages?
As far as tracking mages, you're not super familiar with that. You know that the process
Okay.
typically, and if there is any kind of tracking process, it's something that the peacekeepers probably keep to themselves. You've
Sure.
heard of mages being tracked down before. You're not sure if it's through mundane means or what. But that is almost exclusively the domain of the secret police, and any mention of them at the academy was strictly told or followed with a "but you didn't hear it" kind of message. So,
Sure. Okay. Yep. So nothing. Never mind.
as far as your note, Tyler, there's an addendum to that. It's to drop the note in the sewer. The actual, well, let me rephrase. The dead drop, the method of the dead drop that you were taught by your dad for this is it?
Yeah, we
You're
get an
supposed to
inn and then
get a
put
room at
the
an
thing in
inn.
the sewer at the closest sewer to the inn, right?
Get a room at the inn, and then write a note with the name of the shop across the street from the inn. Attach a silver piece to the note and drop it into the sewers.
Okay.
So yeah, now I just need to know if there's a specific direction you guys are heading for that. If you're just looking for the first inn that you see.
I mean, Joseph, were you staying here?
Yeah, I've
You rented a room for a night at
the
the Empress
Express,
Inn.
the Empress's Inn.
Yep, the Empress's
Um,
Inn here in Eastwall. You did not rent a second night. You were aware that the offer was open from the inn.
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, I stayed here, but I'm out of that place now and am mobile. But I mean, it's not a bad place.
Taylor, Tyler, you guys know any place you want to stay?
Do I know of the Empress's Inn?
It strikes a chord, but only because the last time you walked by the place when you were younger, it was called the Emperor's Inn. And that was because Empress Lillian hadn't taken power yet.
Ah.
But you are aware that there is an inn that isn't too it's not too expensive, decent place. Treats most or deals mostly with humans and more imperial aligned folk since it's here in Eastwall. You do also know that there would probably be a couple of inns over in Old Elveneria, the main, kind of residential-ish commercial district for most of the city, that would also probably serve less imperial-minded folks, or more non-humans at least. You're probably not going to find anything in your budget or anything you'd want to pay over in Selethria. So Eastwall and Old Elveneria are your best bets.
Alright, I'll let them know. Be like, what do you think?
I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, probably someplace that caters to a mixed race crowd.
Yeah, that's my go-to.
All right. First one that comes to your mind then is written. There it is. The Royale Inn. It's run by a human couple in Old Elveneria, but they've been running it for even back when you guys were kids. Strong reputation. Down in Old, they're trying to open up a couple of like other ones around the city, but everybody knows that the original Royale, down off the green, the street of Green in Old Elveneria is going to be the best one to go to.
Alright, I'll start leading them there.
All right. You start leading them through the town. You do eventually have to cross over the Greenwater Canal, and as part of that, going through Mortalia Canal Ray, which the stench is just as the two of you remember as kids. It's very unpleasant. For Finn, who grew up in a very manufactory type city in Hilltown, this is nothing new to you. You know what leatherwork smells like. This whole district it screams imperial manufactory. There's industrial waste pouring into the Greenwater River, heading down into the bay. Very human-esque, and it almost kind of throws you for a loop because as soon as you start crossing the river over the canal, you can see into the city proper, and it's just pastel buildings, polished marble and quartz, beautiful treetops and tree-built homes. And that's a weird going from this nasty like industrial-esque type district crossing over into something like beautiful natural almost. Like you've spent your life in this. Was a middle finger across a Dros. You kind of get the same gist as especially less of your time in Farthing, but Rindelia definitely had this kind of same industrial capacity in some places.
Mhm.
So seeing this like beautiful glittering city on the other side of the river, and then this just across from it dumping industrial waste into the river, this is an insult. This was meant to piss someone off on the other side of that river.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it pisses me off.
Yeah, I mean,
Same.
under a high water mark for being a human today.
Is Drost human? I never asked.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, I would have probably made it, maybe not like out of bragging, but like, hey, like I'm like a mage and went to, the academy, stuff like that. Um that's, when you were asking me about, if there's a stuff I'm cool rolling with, I would probably have returned the question like, hey, like, I'm maybe not you guys' type in that respect. So, full disclosure, but none of that changes on my side. Just so you know.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Mm.
All right. You cross over the canal and eventually make your way into Old Elveneria proper, following along the main road, which you can kind of see follows, kind of cuts through the district a little bit before eventually making its way to the south gate. You do eventually turn onto a street on the right, heading this direction towards the Roman numeral 1. I think it's supposed to be. No, that's a. You start heading up that direction, and you're very quickly greeted with a sight that was familiar to the two of you as kids, the Street of Green. And it's said that mostly because all of the storefronts along this way are built out of tree homes. Elvenon's one of the few cities where trees are not just cut down and used for lumber, but an old elven art of tree singing is used to actually construct the domicile into the tree itself while still being a living tree. And most of the buildings here are either residences that fit into that category or have like apartments up in the top area and then storefronts in the bottom. Down the street of Green, a couple blocks, you do eventually see two buildings, one on the right, one on the left. On the right, you see what looks to be this kind of open market, kind of like a bazaar almost, built into this huge oak tree. Different like little sets of vegetables, fruits, cheeses, natural foods, things like that, and a sign up on the top that says Halvy's Market. On the other side of the street is the Royale Inn. Very well decorated front, some nice curtains, good windows built into it, but the tree itself still looks like it is a living tree. They have not done any exterior work to try and carve it down or anything. It looks like whoever runs this establishment was very much trying to keep with the theme of the neighborhood.
I'm gonna look to the elves and be like, Tyler, no, you, okay, hey,
Should mention one's a
you,
cat right now.
okay, never mind. Good point. So
Tyler's
the only
cat.
elf that can speak. Same sort of thing, because it's like I probably won't be able to keep that straight, both in character or out of character.
Yeah.
Welcome to my life.
Yep,
Yeah.
that was the idea.
Like, is this like you're from here? Like, this is like I've got in my book. I'm like noting I haven't seen this ever, and it's clearly a type of magic I'm not familiar with. So anyway, like that, this is amazing.
Yeah, it is a beautiful city. But yeah, we are from here. We lived off East Wall. Kind of stayed outside the city most times, but we grew up around here, so yeah, the place is beautiful. Most of it anyway, besides for the pollution being dumped into the river.
Right? Yeah, clearly not subtly.
Yeah, the Empire doesn't really do subtle.
Yeah, noticing that. Is this our stop?
Right.
I believe so.
Yeah, you recognize the facade, Taylor. It hasn't looked like it's changed at all the last time you were down. You've never actually stayed at the Royale. You just kind of know the reputation. The humans that run it seem to be pretty cool, from what you heard. But seems like a nice place, at least from the outside.
And yeah, this is the place.
I hop on Kisa's back.
All right.
Well,
I'm assuming you guys. I'm assuming you guys head in.
Yeah.
All right. You head in, and it's a little bit after the lunch hour at this point, so there's still a few people in here just kind of enjoying a meal and some drinks and things like that, but not a huge crowd at the moment. You do see behind the counter, the main bar, is middle-aged human woman, hair wrapped up in a gray, starting to gray bun, wiping down the counter. She sees you guys come in. Reed, we have customers. He'll be right with you. And she continues wiping some stuff down, gathering up a couple of dirty plates from another table, taking them into the back, just as a middle-aged man comes out. Right, hi, my name's Reed. Welcome to the Royale. How can I help you? Looking for rooms, food, drink?
Yes.
Man of taste, I like it. All right. How many rooms and for how long?
I guess think like 3 days to start.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Wow.
Yeah.
The fucking cameo.
We're gonna get 4 rooms for 3 humans.
Well,
or
we got a
people.
friend who's running an errand. So we'll need to get a room for her too.
Yeah.
All right, 4 rooms for 3 nights. That can certainly be arranged. That's going to be. We'll go ahead and say that's 1 gold, 5 silver. If the wolf and cat are staying as well, there is an additional silver per each of them per night. But
Cat can stay outside.
Fair
No,
enough.
the
She'll
cat. The
probably
cat.
run the streets anyway.
Cat's coming in. It's fine. I'll pay for it. It's not a big deal.
all right, that'll be in that case with that factored in for both of the animals. That'll be 2 gold, 1 silver.
And that's for everybody.
Yep, that's for the 4 rooms for 3 nights.
Okay, I'll toss him 3 gold.
Oh, all right, and that'll cover food and drinks and everything for the rest of the day too. If you're hungry right now, go ahead and have a seat. I'll bring some meals out and whatever you're drinking, and we'll get you taken care of.
Sounds good.
All right. He
Yep.
passes out the 4 keys to you guys, or just kind of hands them up. They all have a little number tag on them for the rooms.
Alrighty. Guess we go take a seat.
Yep.
All right.
I'm gonna walk out and wait 5 minutes and then walk back in.
Okay.
As a person.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You wait the 5 minutes. In that time, 3 meals are brought to the 3 humanoids sitting at a table.
And we all pretend that her breath doesn't smell like mouse.
It definitely does.
Yeah. You eventually take your seat, and it's a couple minutes later that a drink and some food is put in front of you. And catching the 2 of you, the 2 locals, a little off guard. This is actually elven style porridge that you guys haven't had since you guys have actually been in Elvenon. It's not typically served in most places.
I'm like scarfing it.
I mean, it's just as good as the last time you remember having it. So I don't know why my work phone's
It's so long.
ringing right now, but
I would express my gratitude for the room, the food. Tyler, the one with the bow. Thanks. Cheers.
You're welcome.
You'll get the hang of it.
There you are.
Yeah, because I'll use descriptors and not proper nouns. But yeah.
I was gonna say I think I've been GMing this game for 4-something years now, and I still don't even have the hang of it sometimes. So
It gets harder. It gets harder when we have like long stretches between games.
you're not
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
If it was like once a week, it'd be a different story. But since it's like, once a month,
Yep.
Yeah,
If that.
yeah.
Too late to change him now.
Mhm.
Yep. All right. But you enjoy your late lunch and your drink. What's the plan? What are you guys doing?
Well, let's write up our note. Go drop it down the sewer, right?
With a silver piece.
Oh, yeah. I think I have silver. Yeah, I do.
I do if you don't. So
I do too.
Taylor and Tyler, point of order. You would also know this isn't the only across the street. Obviously, you were told to write the name of the shop across the street from whatever inn you were staying at. Halvey's Market is a chain. There's actually a couple of them scattered around Old Elveneria, and even one over in Eastwood. But they are numbered. This is for a point of reference. This is Halvey's number.
Halvey's number what? It cut off for me.
Halvey's number 1.
Okay.
Uno.
Cool.
Yeah, this is you're aware, like you're deep in Old Elveneria right now. This is the OG Halvey's. That was originally started up by Halvey herself.
I'll make sure we add that in there.
All right. But you have your note, and there's a piece of silver wrapped up in the note. And you can clearly see what looks to be a little spot for the sewers that you can go dump that in. Who's doing the dumping?
Yeah, I'll
I'm
do it.
doing it. If you think you guys are,
No, I'll do it. I'll
just trying to think of
All
what
right.
role that's going to wind up being.
I'm just gonna duck back in an alley after I get out, or in between someplace, and wait for some time when nobody's looking at me, and I'll just change my appearance, and I'll look like an anonymous half elf.
Okay. You change your appearance and go to make the drop. Are you trying to just be very sly with it? You just
Yeah.
scout it?
Yep. I mean,
Okay.
I'll just look around and wait till nobody's watching, and then drop it down.
Go ahead and roll a stealth check for me real quick.
Okay.
You feel like you're feeling pretty stealthy right now as you go to drop the note with the coin into the sewer and then continue on your way with your disguise.
Yep. I'll walk the opposite direction for a little ways, and then do the same thing. Duck out of the way, and then change my appearance back to I guess just a human. As long as there are enough humans around that I can blend in, right?
Yeah, there's enough humans over in this area of the city that it's not uncommon to see. So,
Okay.
all right, change your appearance back. You head back and make your way back into the Royale where your compatriots are still at, finishing up their meal.
Probably stop off another point to turn back into the elf that I looked like when I came in the first time.
Perfect. All right. So the dead drop has been made. Is there anything else you guys are wanting to do?
I don't know. You guys want to go check town out? I mean, you guys are from
You got a
here.
tour? Yeah.
yeah, let's do it.
Sure.
All right. You go walking around town for a little bit. Starting out in Elveneria, specifically on the Street of Green, you do see plenty of these like little shops that are just offering things that maybe aren't commonly found in most cities. So you're seeing a lot of like elvish style henna tattoo shops, organic like food markets and things like that. A lot of like plant stores, flower stores, specifically like very beautiful blooming flowers that Dros, you've never seen anywhere else in the Empire. And you've traveled a good around. I mean, you started considering where you started and you've kind of made your way through. You've never seen some of the flowers that you're seeing now on this street. They are vividly colorful, exotically scented, just all around exotic. You do catch. There's one thing that specifically catches Drosai though. Botanica Magica. There is it's a shop. The sign itself is shaped like a potion bottle. Not it's one of the few. It's right at the tail end of the street of Green before it forks down into a couple of other streets. Not built out of one of these living trees. Instead, it's just a standard. Well, standard being relative. All of the buildings in this kind of district are made of that polished quartz. So it's still a very regal-looking building, but not built into a tree.
Yeah, I was just going to suggest that, I'd be interested in, libraries or any other stuff, magic shops. But yeah, I'd stop off in here if and don't wait up for me if you guys wanted to keep going or aren't interested. I would have probably also like ran into the back of whoever's in front of me a number of times as I'm like scribbling notes in my journal, like all the random new crazy weird exotic shit I'm seeing. But yeah, anyone care to check out what they've got in here?
Yeah, we can take a stop.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys enter Botanica Magica and immediately are assailed by a whole new range of scents. You just walked down the street of Green and had, experienced the lovely floral scents coming from a lot of the shops there. This is decidedly the opposite end of that scale. This is like earthy, herbal kind of scents. Things that are still found as part of nature, but aren't meant to, maybe smell or look as pretty. The back counter, you can see there looks to be a youthful-looking wood elf woman kind of mashing something in a mortar and pestle. Oh, hi. How can I help you? Welcome to Botanica Magica. What remedy may I offer you today?
What's your specialty?
Oh, well, I'm a potion shop, apothecary, technically. Trained in a couple different kinds of medicine. So if you need any good potions or poultices, I can whip something up for you. If you're looking for something specific, I do some custom orders every once in a while. Depends on what you're looking for.
Well, just browsing right now. But uh, definitely, um, we're in town for a few days. Definitely come back if we need anything in particular. Have you? Well, no, I probably wouldn't ask this. Well, I just ask if is yours the only or the main magic shop in town with
Oh,
potions,
well,
components, and the like?
I do a lot of dealing with potions and components. If you're looking for more like a proper magic item shop or enchantments and things like that, uh, best you're probably going to find is over in Celethriel Wharf. Although I know they tend to be a little more, less like we have these options out for sale and more we do custom work. It's run by a couple of
Sure.
arcanists who are very proud to work almost exclusively within the nobility of the Leyladel district. So they tend to be a little more well bred, if you catch my meaning.
Noted. Uh, do you know where anyone that deals in spell scrolls or the like?
Um, well, if you're looking for specific spell scrolls, you might check. It's still going to be in Celethriel, but he's a little bit nicer, at least about it. Silmaril Sanctum. He might have a couple. He tends to do minor things, more glamours and things like that, but he does occasionally carry things like that. A little less stuffy than the guys over at El Arc, at least.
Gotcha. Thanks for the information.
Right,
Just
and feel
poke
free to
around if you don't
browse.
mind.
That shelf over there is my more common selection, the stuff I usually keep regularly stocked. So feel free to take a look. Let me know.
Thanks. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I wouldn't ask you to go through the entire inventory, but I would take a quick
You do peruse it pretty
notice
quickly.
of some of the more potent stuff that she's got.
The stock standard stuff that she has on sale on that shelf is typically like home remedy stuff. So you see something equivalent to like a cough medicine, not necessarily a healing potion, but more like specialized medicinal herb, poultice, such. You see what's touted as a hair loss potion. Rub some on your head, you get your hair back. You do see two different options, one for non-humans and one for humans that are specifically targeting things like male enhancement. They seem to be a lot of those ones kind of shoved on there, but you can also see that parts of the shelf there's a bit more dust where things maybe aren't being moved around as much. All of the bottles in those two categories seem to be going, they don't seem to be covered in as much dust. Almost like they're newer.
You're
But
saying
that's all she has.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those ones seem like they might be going a little faster or more commonly replenished.
The ones that you just mentioned, everything else
Yep.
is sort of just more obscure.
Everything else, yeah, like everything else looks like it's probably it gets replaced after being bought every once in a while, but specifically those two categories seemed like they get purchased a little more often, just based on the level of dust around that section of the shelf.
Right. Well, maybe not what I thought it would be, but always good to check in and get some information. So unless anybody else wants to purchase,
Boner pills. I'm good.
No, I'm
All
good.
right. With that, you guys head out from Botanica Magica. You're here at the end of the Street of Green. The twins would know that as far as things that Dross was asking about, like libraries and such, there isn't really any like official libraries or anything like that in the city. Elvenon is more, because it's more nobility minded in most aspects. The largest collections of knowledge tend to be controlled by the nobility, so it's more private collections and things that you'd have to ask to get access to. Nothing really kind of open to the public, unfortunately. Best bet for any kind of like historical knowledge or anything like that, you would know, is the Soulways, the large kind of open area over by the western side of the city. If you're looking for any kind of like cultural landmark or anything like that. As far as more shopping, there's still, minor shops and things like that that aren't necessarily of note here in Old Elveneria. You were told about a couple possibly magic shops over in Celethriel, which the twins would know is the kind of Ritz. It was previously like a dock area, and it sometimes serves that purpose, but it's more commercial now. Businesses aren't allowed to operate in the Leyladel district where the nobility lives, so all of businesses that would serve them are all packed into Celethriel.
Mm.
So you haven't ever actually been in there. You've always just heard the rumor that, or the reputation that everything there is just typically overpriced in most aspects, and elegant to the point of excess. As
Yeah,
far as anything,
that's not my crowd.
yeah. As far as anything else of note, the only other real landmark that you can kind of explore around would be the Visorian Green in the heart of the city.
Mm.
Follow you guys.
Yeah, I'll head over there.
All right, you're heading to Visorian Green.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
if you guys are cool with that.
Oh, I'll come with. I don't mind.
Okay. You head to Visorian Green. Pretty quick walk, actually, from where you were already at. Following one of the roads up towards Kai Visoria, the kind of giant spired citadel that you've all saw when you were entering the city. You can still kind of see, just as you're getting a little closer, it's harder to make it out, but the rainbow refracted light coming from the top of the central spire is still a bit visible, shooting up into the clouds. But you carve around one of the major walls of Kai Visoria. and eventually find yourself at what looks to be just an acre of grassland and trees at first glance. Drost, you felt this kind of power, like this underlying current of magic throughout the city, and kind of just, you were seeing living trees being used as homes and things like that. This is a very like magically talented city. A lot of energy is coming off of. You can almost feel like it almost feels like it's radiating energy as you get closer to the Visorian Green. And to your trained eye, I need you to roll an Arcana check quick.
Okay.
You have time if you want to cast it.
I was gonna say I would probably, as I'm approaching, mutter a couple of incantations, but
16. That's high enough. As you get, you're starting to get a little closer. You're just trying to figure out like why is this? It looks like an overgrown park, really. Like for purpose, like comparison's sake, picture Central Park in New York City. Like it's a very nice green space from as you're kind of approaching it. It looks very pretty. You don't actually see anyone like in the park itself though. And as you kind of get closer and closer, you can start feeling that like this energy wave of magic coming off of it until the twins lead you right up to the edge of the park, and it's just barely visible to all of you that there is this kind of barrier of magic surrounding the Visorian Green. The twins, you're both aware of why. It's an illusory barrier. And as you cross through the barrier, the city that you were looking at behind you and kind of around you is no longer visible because this one little acre plot sitting in the middle of the city is in fact much, much bigger on the inside. You're looking at what originally you were looking at a park. You're now looking at what looks to be a small forest packed into this area and contained in a magic bubble.
Holy shit.
wow.
That's
I love it
fucking
here.
cool.
As you enter,
That's
you also
a lot of
hear
power.
the that soft sound of distant lyre and singing that seems to permeate all of the air in Elvenon. The singing is now louder. This is very much a cultural phenomenon and beloved area of the elves, and it very much feels like that as you pass through. This is, I mean, situated in the heart of what is essentially an elven metropolis, is now what is at the core of some elves. This beautiful, lush green land, protected by magic. No signs of the city outside. You can't even hear any of the sounds of the city in this place. It is nothing but forest.
Um, could I get a sense of like is it just a wash of energy, or is it coming from like any particular direction or area?
It is very much a kind of wash of energy. This whole area is permeated in that kind of power. You're aware of spells and enchantments and things like that that can be used to kind of compact space into something much smaller. I mean, you're carrying an item on you that very much does exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
As far as your bag. So the concept isn't new. Played out to this scale is crazy, though. You're already aware of how much power and energy and spell casting components it typically takes to make a single bag of holding. I mean, this is packing like a couple square miles of Greenland into an acre.
Yeah, I would look to, if she's not a cat, I would look to uh the one without a bow, and the only other
Yeah, I'm
people
not
that
a
have
cat right
casted
now.
magic that I've seen in the group and be like, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And I don't know if Finn has ever seen Tyler like happier.
I've
I
missed this
bet.
place.
Fuck yeah, like, I would miss the shit out of this place too. That's nuts.
Tyler, you're also aware a little bit of the history of this place. The druid circle that your mother belonged to was actually the group responsible for creating this bit of green within the city.
Was she directly
She was not.
helpful with that?
It's a bit older than her. The Visorian Green wasn't always called the Visorian Green, but the green space here is thought to be the original like landing site of the elves here in the material world. In fact, you're aware deeper into the forest is a landmark known as the Dueling Court, which is said used to be a gateway to the Feywild. The druid circle that eventually came out of this area when the city started kind of being built up, the first thing they did was try to protect their home. So they set this barrier up to try and protect that space. That druid circle would eventually move out of the city. The barrier still standing, obviously, but the druid circle would eventually move up to the Verdant Peninsula and would eventually see members like your mother. But it comes from a long lineage of people that you were tied to.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I know a lot of how this thing started, so it's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, insane. I've had a few encounters with Fey magic, but clearly nothing on even close to this level. Puts the dumping into the canal into harsh context.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole rolling against the Empire situation. Yeah, it doesn't sound half bad.
They don't make it hard.
That's where I'm coming from.
Almost like they're written that way.
Yeah,
A lot
I'll be the
of
first to
sympathy
admit.
for these villains.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit I've had the blinders on and drinking the Kool-Aid for quite a while. Both refreshing and a little bit jarring to get some context.
Yep.
Context is a bitch sometimes.
So just like hang out in the forest for a while?
That's my plan. I don't know if you guys want to
Fuck
wait up
yeah.
for me, but
I am all for
Do
it.
the frolicking montage.
Dude, yeah, there's a place like fucking lounge. Like fucking hammock in a tree or something.
I'll just
As you
lean
guys-
up
frolicking
against a tree and
montage for
through-
sure.
meditate for a bit with Kisa.
Yeah, as you guys kind of go through, walking through some of the forested path in the Visorian group, you do see you're not alone here. There are a couple of different elves and a couple other non-humans, even a couple humans that are. I mean, this is essentially a giant social space. It's not limited to any one class or race or anything like that. It's meant for anyone in the city who wants to enjoy it, and there are plenty of people here just doing that. So a couple of them have actually set up some portable chairs, and one does have a hammock. A couple elves are just sitting amongst tree branches reading. You do see, as you kind of approach the Dueling Court, this kind of open courtyard with a smashed stone archway and what looks like almost auditorium-style seating. There's a couple people sitting on the seats, not necessarily watching or doing anything in particular, but looks to be a couple of musicians, like Pied Piper almost, with these different pan flutes going at almost like a dueling of flutes, if you will. Which the two of you that know the history of this place, this was in fact, it used to be the place where obviously the Fae, or what would become the Elves, entered through this smashed gateway. But it said that those with enough tie to their old homeland, and those with the blood of the Fae and the power of their magic, can potentially open the gateway. if they're only more whimsical enough. But later, the Dueling Court got its actual name, the Dueling Court, because elven nobility would use this site to hash out duels. They treated it as a bit of like an extraplanar space, so technically not beholden to the imperial law against dueling. So any elven nobility who felt the need to take it out on one another would come here and hash it out. Although that hasn't happened in 300 years since the younger brother of the leader of the younger brother of the current dynastic rulers was killed in a duel occasion. But right now, there's a couple pan flutists dueling here. As you guys are kind of just walking through listening, Tyler, I need you to roll me a nature check. 21. You're right. This is probably the happiest that Tyler has been in a long time. This is, a nice little slice of home and her heritage that she's getting to enjoy. And she almost feels like, as she's listening to the music of the pan flutist and even just the ambient music of Elvanon seeping into the Visorian green itself, there's something that just kind of tickles at the back of her mind. And it's the tune competing with the dueling flutists and the music of Elvanon. There's now a third tune playing in Tyler's head. And it's a tune you haven't heard since you had the dream back in Krillaria, a tune of the old times. And you kind of just keep, as you're listening to that bit of music in your head with the ambient music and the music in front of you, you kind of just stare at that smashed gateway for a little bit and shake your head a little bit and keep moving.
I'm gonna continue to hum along.
You hum along to a third unheard tune in this city as you continue to walk. And you almost feel like, as you're continuing to walk through the forest, there's a different energy to it now for you specifically. No one else notices anything like this. But the forest seems to come alive a little more. You notice the plants swaying with a little bit of artificial wind, just a bit more. You see just a few more animals perched in the trees, running amongst the grass, insects flitting around to the flowers. A little extra layer of vibrancy that wasn't necessarily there when you walked in. Continue walking and enjoying your time.
Yeah.
I will say, for the purposes of this, if anyone needs to take a short rest as far as your character to get any spell slots or anything like that back, you can do so. It's almost impossible to do anything that isn't leisure activity here in the Visorian Green. So even just walking around, I'd consider it a form of rest.
Take
But
that.
eventually, you walk back out of the barrier and find yourselves on the northern edge of the Visorian Green, facing towards the very bustling area known as the Celethrial Wharf. You can see there's plenty of people just kind of flitting around. No actual, like, you were told this is kind of like the ritzy commercial district. You don't actually see anyone that's dressed up like a nobleman. There's no, elegant gowns or, coats or anything like that. It's all working class people flitting around from building to building. But looking at a couple of them, you can see a couple of signs up on some of these buildings. Very quickly, you see, here's the list. But I would have already found it. There we are. You see a sign for Elf B&B. You see another one with a lot of foot traffic coming in and out, some carrying bags, some carrying boxes of food and things like that. The building is labeled Pellion's Post Pals. You see what looks to be a restaurant with a couple of people sitting out in front, kind of just eating what smells like seafood, very well cooked seafood. The sign on the right above the place says Shell Shack. And off in the distance, you can kind of see what looks to be a very well, like ritzy resort, easily 8 foot or 8 story tall, kind of almost human designed building. Very out of character for the elves, but giant sign that says Bayside up on the top of it. But that's all you see from the outside of the district. If you choose to go in, there might be more. So, is there anything else anyone is trying to accomplish today before you start heading back to the Royale?
Oh, I think if we be at the park, I'm done.
After
Or
the
whatever
park, you
the
don't need to
green
see
was.
much else, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
Park's the best part.
Kind of the grand finale of the tour.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
All right. Well, if no one's got anything else they want to do, you guys head back to the Royale. Eventually manage to find a seat right before the dinner rush, getting a pretty good meal. Still elven style cuisine, so two of you are very much at home and enjoying this, bit of comfort food essentially for you. The two humans in the group. It's still pretty good food. Like it's better than some of the stuff you've had at some of the other taverns you've stayed in your life. Everything here just kind of seems to be a little higher quality. They care a little more about the ingredients and such. So it's good food. It's nice. It warms the belly, keeps you going. As you're finishing your meal, Taylor, you feel a tug at the bottom of your pant leg.
I look down.
There's a little rat tugging on your leg. He looks up at you, and it looks like he's holding a little scroll piece of paper in his little paw.
I'll reach down to take it.
He offers it up, and you take it. Then he waves, scampers out the door.
I'll open it up subtly and read it.
It gives an address about 3 blocks away here in Old Elveneria. It says 1 hour. Meet me there.
Well, we got a reply. Gotta meet down the road in about an hour from now.
Oh, works fast.
Yep. Sweet.
All right. You finish up your meal, and does anyone have anything else they want to do before you head to the meeting?
I think so.
Nope.
I think I'm
Nope.
good.
Okay. You head down. You leave the Royale for this evening. Sun's going down, but there's plenty of street lighting all throughout the city. Elven-style mage lights populating different corners to make sure that nowhere in this district is really hidden in the dark, thing like that. You you head to the address that you are aware of. Like you have a vague idea of like where this street is. You can probably find this number building. You make it to the street, and the address. You find that the street number itself doesn't actually exist once you get there. But the three of you with high passive perceptions do see off in an alleyway there is a little rat waving over towards you guys.
Walk over toward him.
Yep.
Because does he look familiar?
This Drost, you would recognize this rat. Yeah.
I mean, as much as you can recognize a rat.
Yeah. I mean, he fits the pattern of what you had seen previously. So I take it
That's
you guys
the
are
rat
following
that
him?
I already
Yeah.
talked to you. Yeah.
I was
Yep.
told-
I'll keep the old head on a swivel.
Okay. You follow this rat down an alleyway. He eventually makes a turn into a smaller alleyway, but as you kind of follow him, you see he leads you to another door that is currently open and just waves and kind of beckons you in, and he skitters into the room.
All right.
You guys enter.
Sure. Who wants to go first? Doesn't matter. I'll go in.
Yeah. I mean, I go.
All right.
Minimal
And-
reservations.
Yep.
In for a penny, in for a pound,
Yep.
I guess, right?
I believe, Drost, do you have dark vision?
I have.
Okay. All of you then, you enter this dark room and close the door behind you. Inside this room, you're all able to see perfectly fine. You see seated at a table. There's a soft candle off in the distance, just casting just the barest amount of dim light into this room. There is an individual sitting at the table. It seems to be petting the rat that you had followed in here. The rat's sitting on the table. He's just getting stroked and looks like he's enjoying it. The man sitting at the table, the two of you, looks a little familiar. The last time you saw him, he was well shaven. He took better care of himself. He had his hair cut short in the military style because your Uncle Vel, one of your father's best friends in the Rangers, would never be caught dead being a long-haired, unshaven mess like he currently looks right now. And he looks up at you guys as he's still petting the rat. Well, hey kids. How's it going?
Hi.
And that's where we're
Hey.
going to leave off for the night.
Alrighty.
Wait.
As you guys have officially made contact with Velnir Quickfinger, old friend of the family on your father's side. So
Nice.
we will look to pick that up, hopefully at least one more time before all of the holiday craziness, but we'll see how that goes.
Cool.
Alrighty.
On that note, I'm going to end the recording here, so thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.